but it's cut so that it stays in. Make sense? Questions? I thought we would try to build a little, at least get started on a little crate for a ceramic sculpture of mine, which was really just a kiln filler for me. But this is ceramic and it's irregular. It's very irregular, in fact. And I want to build a miniature crate that will hold this thing with 2-inch foam all the way around it. I've started this process because it takes a while, and it takes a while for me to think it through too, especially out loud. So the irregularity of this, what I like to do, I've got my object, right? Let me clean up here for a second. And I want to think about dimensions, but I want to think about them in a way that I can kind of understand. So I think about foam first. So I wrap the thing in foam in my brain before, well, I actually physically do it too, before I even think about plywoods and wood. So what I've got started is a kind of a start. I think this is how I want it. I think I want this base to be like this, and then I can come back with this foam and do a back and a front. And then once that's like that, then I can get dimensions on the plywood and start making the plywood. So I cut a lot of this foam on the table saw or band saw. I'm looking at this, I can already see it's not perfect, so let's get a little bit better. Let's try and get a little bit tighter on here. I want this, the edge of this ceramic to be pretty close there. I like that. There might be a little discrepancy, but hopefully that other foam can come in here and that plywood can kind of squeeze it. So I'm looking on this side and I'm a little proud. So before I even go further, I've got to trim down what I thought I had prepped really well. So I'm seeing 4.5. Another way I like to think about this is I'll draw out my piece. I've got this ugly sketch. This is just to kind of visualize, okay, it's this weird cubic piece. It's not really a cube, but it's cubic in nature. And then I think to myself visually, because I'm a visual and kinesthetic person, I've got to draw it out. Where do I start? I know I need 2-inch foam on the bottom. I know I need 2-inch foam on the top. And I know I need 2-inch foam all around on the sides. So I write those down, and I'm going to get to that point first. But once I get to that point, I can also manage to wrap my brain around how's that plywood going to fit. So it's like any box, it's going to be a series of butt joints. We know what butt joints are, right? Versus miter joints. So we're going to do most likely one base that the way crates should be built is that you have a top and a bottom, and then the sides are attached from the top and the bottom. So that top and the bottom's got to be proud of the actual end of the foam, right? Because it's got to compensate for the edge of your walls. So that's why I like to do this in steps, because there's going to be a million numbers in your head, and you're going to mess it up. I do all the time. So I'm going to cut the foam, all the foam first, and I'm going to get to this place where all the foam's done, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do these sides, and then these sides, and then the top and the bottom. Does that make sense? Because I'm doing this in miniature. Let's say you're doing like a bigger regular painting one. You probably have a 1x2 or a 1x3, a standard dimension you're working with. Might be a little bit easier. This is scrap, so just making do with what I have. And this size is appropriate for the size of crate. It's a cute little dollhouse crate, I call it. So let me trim this foam down first real quick, and I'm going to do that on the bandsaw. Does everyone use the bandsaw, I assume? Have you ever cut foam on the bandsaw? Is that allowed? Some shops don't let you. In my art school in undergrad, you couldn't cut foam or MDF unless you had good ventilation. Okay. So I'm going to trim this stuff down to 4.5. Meaning, you know, this side, 4.5, it's a little bit of wiggle room because this ceramic's so imperfect. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with that because when I come to put the face on, I might make my sides of my plywood just a little bit tight so that thing's it's pressure fitting on there and it's gonna hold this guy in there really good. So I love this. I love the way this looks, I think. Well, my top might be a little proud. And that could be an issue. I see 8 7/8, and I've got 9 1/8. So let's just trim it down. There's going to be a lot of this, like back and forth with that. Now, usually I would try and use a chop saw, but I'm going to keep using the bandsaw. I like it. There, look at this. Okay, that's starting to look real nice. I like that. I like it a lot. You know? I think that's going to be good. And then the wood's going to come in and be a little bit of an absorber as well. So, we've got 2 more foam pieces to cut. You know, where was I? 8 7/8. So I'm going to say I need 2 at 8 7/8 by. Now, this process, I usually push down a little. I'm seeing 9 5/8. I kind of want 9 1/2 because I kind of want a little bit of pressure on this thing, not too much. But an 1/8 inch isn't going to kill this thing, and it's actually going to make it fit in there a little bit better. So I will do. I'll do 9 1/2 because we're kind of at that 16th in between 9 1/2 and 5/8. 9 1/2, 8 7/8. So I've already got the saw set up to 8 7/8. I'm gonna take my big old guy, find my factory edge on my foam. That I know is really clean. This I just went at with a butter knife, it looks like earlier, so that's why it looks like hell, and I don't want to cut off that edge. I'm gonna cut it real quick. My width is good, so now we'll do 9 1/2. I'm wearing this because this has got chemicals in it. Normally I'd wear a respirator. This stuff isn't as bad as like MDF, but whenever you're working with like machined stuff, I recommend a respirator. It does get kind of crazy. You've got glasses, respirator, ears, you're fogging up, it's gnarly, but it's better than breathing this stuff in. But you also have good air suction, ventilation in here, so it's not too bad. Anyway, this is looking nice. I like the way this looks. What do you all think? Oh, look at that.
Pressed nicely.
This is better than the original sculpture? What are you trying to say? Come on. That was not very nice. So I think I'm going to do my sides first, right? Because like I said earlier, I want my sides to sit on the base and the top to go to the edge of the sides. So I've got to frame out the walls on the sides first. Let's get some measurements on that. 9, and what was that? 9.5. Let's make those 2 at 9 by 9.5. And then I need 2 that are gonna be, let's do it this way so you can see it. If my sides terminate like that, I need these faces to go and overlap. So you can see that's 9, well I need to go all the way to 10. Well, I'm gonna go to 11, right? Because there'll be 2 sides. Does that make sense? So that way this face will screw into the edge of this face. So I'm seeing 9.5 again. I'm seeing 11 by 9.5. And I'm just gonna check this all sides to make sure that's what I want. Yeah, it's actually, because that was 8 7/8, it's 9 7/8. So I'm actually looking at 10 7/8 rather than 11. Now, this might sound like splitting hairs, it's because it is, but you think about the crate, you really do want it to be, if it's too loose, then this is just gonna move around and it'll break. Or what could happen is it could fall, like, you know, some people are gonna drop it like that and then it's gonna go and it's gonna bend and it's gonna cause stress on the ceramic, and stress and impact is what breaks ceramic mostly, right? So I do want it to be pretty precise. Okay, so I've got my sides, and I got my face. Now I could go through and estimate my top and my bottom. I don't do that. I build these out, and then I hit my tops and my bottoms. Yeah, let's do it that way. It's a little bit of back and forth, but I prefer it because maybe a measurement's off here or there. So for this, I'll use the table saw and the chop saw mostly. Yeah, they kind of are, huh? Cool. So I'm gonna say, okay, 9.5. That was my vertical measurement. So that's my up and down, that's my height. If I cut 9.5 this way, then I've got my wood, my grain going this way. I'm gonna go ahead and say I want it this way. But I decided to make it really hard on myself because 3/8 is not as easy to measure out. Nine and a half, you're pretty close.
Yeah, it should be really close.
A little off. Okay, so again, 9.5 was that way. So actually I want to cut it this way because that'll be my top. So this will be a cross cut, which is fine. that should be enough. Yeah, look at that. It's going to push down a touch, but it's going to be nice. So I need 2 that are at 9, and then 2 that are at 10 7/8. This is where I go on the chops up. So 9. Measure twice, cut 3 times. So I'm cutting 2 boards at once here. Oh yeah. We're in there. We're in the ballpark. We're in that territory. That's gonna go like that. Okay. I like it. I love it. 10 7/8. You have it like this. We have that overhang because we still need to cut our style frameworks or frame pieces. Perfect. Let's cut those now. So what was that? 9 and 10 7/8. So 2 at 9 and 2 at 10 7/8. Oh, we need 4 at 9, right? No, wait. 2, 4. Yeah, we need 4 of each because we have 2 on each panel. Thanks for reminding me, Pearson. If I'm making a lot of these or I'm making multiple crates, I'll use a stop, but I just need a few of these, so. So that's my 9. This will be my 10 7/8. Yeah, we'll leave it. I like it. Four and 4. So now, again, you can do the math on this. You don't have to be a caveman about it. But after years of being a carpenter, I just like to do it this way. It's like I don't make mistakes then, because I am not a mathematician. I see 8 1/16. So we'll cut 4 at 8 1/16. Zoom tight. small panels are all ready. Right. They should fit. Yep. Cool. Now, let's figure out, should be the same on all of these, right? Yeah, it's the same. But I might need to make more of that. Yeah, 8 and then 8. So we could probably get 2 more. Oh, we just might have enough. So I'll have to make more of this for the tops and the bottoms, but let's put these sides together and see what we got. And how do we do that? Well, we get our air compressor. It's a lot nicer than mine. Mine's real stiff. So I'm making these things inside out. These are scrap material. They're 3/4 by 5/8. What can I say about that? Hopefully I didn't mess up the measurements because of that. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to account for that with your stock dimensions. Like you're buying a 1x2, it's going to be 3/4 by 1.5 inches. It's not actually 1x2. You know what I mean? But if you're doing my method where you're measuring and cutting, you're going back and forth, you're gonna see physically in front of you that doesn't work. How do I make it work? You know. Again, caveman style woodworking. I'm doing 3. You want to at least do 4 all the way around. Sometimes I'll do like every 2 to 3 inches even. A little proud. That's okay. Always trim that. So I'm a little proud. I might cut it, I might not. But that's a bigger version, and this should be our side. Look good? Did it break yet? Nope. Okay.
Not broken yet.
Not broken yet. We'll break it. Top and bottom. 11. This is actually 10 and 7/8. I could go ahead and make it 11. Sometimes I'll do that, like when you're making a box, you kind of just, I like to make it a little proud, and then I flush trim it with my router. For this, I think, yeah, let's just go 10 and 15/16 times 2. All right, so I'm just making 2 that are roughly 11 by 11. It's just shy of that. Make it work. So we've got vertical correction doesn't So these are just square, they should be. And I'll need 4 at 11.
They might already know this, but do you want to explain how you're using a piece that you've already measured to cut the next piece?
Oh yeah.
Big time saver.
Yeah, so instead of measuring out each piece, I just cut one to the length, and it works. And I need, 3 more of these? So I just lay it on top of the piece I'm cutting. I bring my saw blade down, I butt it up against that piece, and then I can just cut it. Like I said, if I'm making a ton of these, the other option is, and I think he's got a track system here. It looks like that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Mine's different. It's a clamping system, but you'll have a block that sits there, and it'll be a stop block that doesn't move. And so that dimension, you can just cut it over and over and over and over again. But we're just making a few, so I'm not going to do that. 1, 2, 3. I need one more. So I'm reading 9.5 for my uprights. This is another way to measure real quick, so I don't have to go like this and move my pieces around. Put them both at the one edge of your panel and just measure down 9.5. That'll be your dimension. It's just about like a lot of these crates for me. It's like quickness. How fast can I turn this over? So even if it's not super precise, it'll end up working. One thing I will point out that I won't recommend is this method. When you do the marks, your pencil mark's going to add some dimension on there, and you're always going to end up cutting it wrong, and it's going to either grow or shorten. You'll never get it exact. Whereas when you're doing this, you've got it flush on this end, and you're controlling your piece, and it's butted up against your saw blade. It's precise. The saw blade is peculiar. It has these teeth, and those teeth stick out. So you can get your piece on the inside of the saw blade. Well, that's actually a fraction off from the actual kerf, which is the cut, the amount of material the saw blade removes. I need to reload here. Let's put this together. wrong way to assemble these, but I did that on purpose. You can see it's a little tricky to fit that style in there after that. So that's why I'm always doing I'm like doing the bottom, then the sides, and then the other side. But it's not a big deal. Don't freak out, don't throw a fit. Squeeze it in there. It's the right dimension, but it's going in at an angle. So that's why it's not fitting. It will fit once you tap it. Look at that. That one fits a little better. See how she did. Nice.
It's a great crate.
It's a great crate. Great crate. All right, the last thing, so we only have about half hour. I'd love to just show, and maybe I'll do it on this panel. So we'll pretend like this is a side. I'm gonna do a little built-in handle. And then I'm also, before I do that, I'm gonna round out, actually after. What if we just did an extra style in here, like an extra frame member, and then we routed everything out? I kind of like to have the crate all assembled. It's empty, the art's not inside. It's all assembled, and then I just go to town with my router and I hit all the sides that I think are gonna be problematic, particularly this corners. See how sharp that is? If that and actually we're talking about this corner, right? But if that corner isn't rounded over, it can catch on something and just pull a huge chunk or splinter out of that, especially if it's pine wood. Poplar is a lot better. Pine will just get destroyed. But for the sake of the demo, I am just going to put a piece in here, and then I'm gonna router it out. And I think that's about what we'll have time for. The other thing we didn't get to, if I wanted to, let's say this is a big guy, now would be the time after I added the base to put our kick, our feet, which again, if you need to pallet jack it, it needs to be at least 3.5 inches high. I hope I wrote that in the handout. I think I did. And that will clear pallet jacks and forklifts. We'll tack this, put some screws in it. It's a little thicker, that's fine. If you're gonna do a handle, screws are a must. Right in the center, and I don't even have the right bit on. All right, we've got that, and we want to round this stuff over. Well, how are we going to do that? Get safe. This is a router tool. How many people have used a router? They're squirrely. They could be, it's like the most versatile tool in the shop and also the most dangerous. So be careful with these. There's a direction you go with the router. You'll notice if you're going the wrong direction because it'll zip away from you. Again, this is a round over bit. You can get these really fat, really big, or really small like this. This is a 1/4 inch shank because this is just a little trim router. They'll get beefier if you're dealing with heavier, thicker wood. Router bits are expensive too, so be prepared for that. Now this has a little bearing, call it. So that bearing is like a flush, is the same thing you see on a flush trim. What that's gonna do is this base plate's gonna ride up to that and cut it until it hits that bearing, and then it's gonna stop. And it's just gonna flush up to that. And that bearing's gonna ride along the edge of this piece while it's cutting. We don't have dogs on this table, so I'm just gonna have to do it a little bit at a time and clamp it. And you don't have like a portable suction. It's fine. Maybe I'll just.
It's a device, that's it.
I mean, like, I don't even have my attachment, so I'll just do a little bit so you can see. So, this router is spinning, and it's gonna most likely spin clockwise. So it's spinning clockwise, so it's spinning like this. That means you're moving like this. If you spin the opposite way, it's like a tire, and it's gonna go, you're going against the grain. It's kind of the same principle as a table saw. That blade's coming at you. If it were going away from you, it would pull that piece out from underneath you. It can be complicated. Sometimes I have to figure it out too. If y'all want to come around here, you can come and feel this. I'll do this all the way around. And you can feel how smooth that is versus that, right? Now we do that on the insides as well. Usually this will be sunk flush. The only reason I'm not going to do it is because I keep hitting, this material's too small. Let me see if I can. There we go. We'll do that. So I would keep going all the way around and everything would be rounded over. Not the inside. We really want that to be flush. But when I'm done assembling this, I personally would come through after I attached it all and I would sand that and then I would router all the way around. Maybe the base I leave sharp. Or maybe not. I might router that just a little bit, because the base will get, if it's getting forked too, it might be more important. So that's it, guys. I didn't bring the right screws. I apologize I can't complete it, but you see it, it's done. This is what it looks like, right? And then your handle situation is up to you. The only other thing I would say is sometimes I'll see how that's kind of hard to get out of there? I might drill a hole, have a little. You can do a drill where you're just like a drill bit, but a bigger drill bit, right? And if you drill through it, it's like a little piece it's like a finger hole, so you can pull it out. Or you can bevel it. You can do a 45 or something on a table saw, so it's got this smooth, cool little bevel, and it helps you just grab it out. But in my mind, this is an exploding crate. So you would take not just the top, but then you would take the sides off and then pick it apart. In which case, sometimes you want instructions for the person uncrating it, right? Circling the bits you want them to take out, the screws you want them to take out first, or the only ones you want them to take out, right? If it's a top load, I would just circle them and say remove top, and you don't touch the rest. So, labeling your crate is important.
Are there
There's a language, there's a language, but it's just symbology, and I don't know if this is pretty standard up. Fragile is typically a little cracked glass, but I've seen other versions of it too. Ride flat is a good one I see a lot if it's a long piece that has to sit flat. Yeah. I'm trying to think of another one. Open this side. I see that a lot. Open this side first. Or something like that, you know?
You'll use those.
Shock watch. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about that. Shock watch and tip and toe. We do use these. These, so this will indicate if it's been harmed. There's like some kind of, the sand is the tip and toe. This is like a different material that if it gets really shocked, like if it gets dropped there'll be like red material, I think it is, that shows in there. And then there's a sand one, a tip and toe, and it's got blue sand and an arrow, and if it's tipped too far, it'll go over into the other cavity on the side. I didn't bring those, I completely forgot, but yeah, we'll use those from time to time. Those are really like museum grade stuff typically. But yeah, I mean, unless you're really worried about it, I don't know if you need to put it on your work. I've never done it for my work whenever I create my work, but it might be worth it especially if you have an insurance value on it or something.
Yeah, I had one project we did for a client where the insurance required to have it on it.
Yeah.
We had that hole on there.
Yeah, sometimes insurance will have rules for the crating, and they're similar to like the international rules. They're hard and fast. So this couldn't go international unless I got a stamp from a guy that said that this is kiln dried poplar, and I don't even think it is, so it wouldn't pass. In which case I would just mill down plywood, right? You make plywood 1x3s and you use those for your frame pieces. Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
This is the video, so hi.